without teaching you the basics of it. I want to start from the scratch. You understand? I want to just do a brief revision about the scratch of mathematics. Then let's look at algebra expression. Let's look at algebra expression. So many of the things we do in mathematics on the foundational aspect is mostly algebra expression. The first one to look at is the use of signs. Let's look at use of signs. Use of signs. Use of signs. Now, this thing you see is when we talk about use of signs, you may this is very important. Very important. And this has caused many people not know mathematics. Many people. This thing you'll see. So let's start with some of these laws of the use of sign. Let's start with some laws of use of sign. Let's look at plus times plus is what? Is plus. Then plus times minus is what? Minus. Minus times plus is what? Minus. And minus times minus is plus. You understand? So, and the same thing goes for division. If we say plus divide plus is also plus. If we say plus divide minus, plus divided by minus is equals to minus, and minus divided by plus is equals to minus, and minus divided by minus is equals to plus. So they are the same thing. Understand? So this thing you are seeing now is a very big something in mathematics that has caused many people to famous. And so many people I asked this question, they were not able to answer. I asked somebody plus times plus or some minus. Understand? I asked someone, I think some times ago, I asked somebody plus times plus. The person said that plus times plus is minus. But there's no way plus times plus can be minus. Now this is how you know it. When the same signs are multiplying each other, it always comes in plus sign. Do you understand? Whenever the signs are the same and multiplying each other, it always comes in plus sign. Do you understand? But when the signs are not alike, it always comes in minus sign. Like if you have, whether it is minus times plus or plus times minus, it will always be minus. But when the signs are the same, it always comes in plus sign. So plus times plus is plus, minus times minus is also plus. Now the same thing goes for division. Do you understand? So let's look at how we can apply this thing. And let's look at some application of this. Like for example, let's say, let me look at this example 1. Let's say plus times plus times minus times plus times plus. So let's see what can be the answer. Minus times plus times minus times plus times plus. Let's see what will be the answer. We have minus times plus is what? Minus. Now that minus times plus is what?
Times minus.
That minus, yeah. That minus times minus now. Okay, minus times plus is what?
Minus.
Minus. That minus times minus is what?
Plus.
Plus. That plus times plus is what? Plus. That plus times plus is what?
Plus.
Plus. So finally it is what? Plus. Now if we have let's look at example 2. Now I don't want, that is, I'm not using numbers yet. For now I'm using 1. You understand? I'll tell you how I am using 1 here. What I've just done here, there are 1 in all the signs. So let's see if we have minus times minus times plus times minus. So what will be the answer of this? Minus times minus is what?
Plus.
Plus. That plus times plus is what?
Plus.
That plus times minus is what?
Minus.
Minus. Okay, now I want you to note something. Just write notes. I want to know something. Note that whenever
there is a sign standing alone, then there is always one at the back of it. There's always one at the back of, okay, there's always one in front of it. Some people can say is at the back, some people can say is at the front. It's just understanding is what matters. Understand? So what matters is understanding it. So some people can say the one is at the back, some people can say the one is at the front. So whenever a sign is standing on its own, then there must be one at the front of that sign. For example, if you have minus is also the same thing as -1. Do you understand? Minus alone is also the same thing as what? As -1. And plus alone is also the same thing as what? +1. Do you understand? So these are the things that make people fail mathematics. They say math is hard, math is not hard. It's very simple. Do you understand? Let's look at the application of these things, how they are applied in mathematics. Like for example, I said if a sign is standing on its own, that means it has what? 1. So when it is 1, we just write only the sign. Do you understand? When it is 1, we just write only the what? Only the sign. Understand? But from 2 and above, we come with the sign. Like we cannot write minus now and we say it's -2. No. With 2, from 2 and above, we always go with the sign. So we have minus, -2, -3, and -4. So this one now means -1. The same thing plus +1, +2, +3, plus what? 4. Are you seeing it? So the same thing goes. So let's look at how these are applied. So let's look at multiplication and division of signs, because this is where we begin to have problem. This is where we begin to have problem. Now, before we look at multiplication and division of signs, we'll look at the use of bracket. If we have some of this nature, we want to look at now the multiplication and division of what? Of signs. If we have -1 times -2, so what's the answer? -1 times -2. Now, if you want to solve this now, the first thing, I'm just trying to go through, I'm just trying to do revision. Before we start, I just want to go, let me just summarize JSS1 to SS1. Understand? Let me just summarize JSS1 to SS1 so that we can continue. So if we have -1 times -2, understand? The first thing we'll do here is multiply the signs. That is the first thing we'll do. Multiply the what? The signs. So we have minus times minus is what? Plus. Do you understand? Then 1 times 2 is what? 2. Do you understand? It is plus 2. Do you understand? Then what if we have -3 times plus 5. If we have -3 times plus 5, -3 times plus 5, -3 times plus 5, the first thing we'll do is what? Minus times plus, Abi? Minus times plus. Minus times plus is what? Minus. Then 3 times 5 is what? 15. So now say that -3 times plus 5 is what? -15. Now look at this. Another thing you also note something. Note, whenever a number is standing alone, there is plus at the back. Do you understand? Whenever a number is alone, there is always what? Plus at the back. If any number stands alone, there is plus at the what? At the back. This is what you just need to know this thing. If, like for example, if you have 2, it's also something as plus 2. Do you understand? If you have 2 and plus 2 are the same thing. If you have 3, it's also something as what? Plus 3. Do you understand? So now, but if a number is carrying minus sign, that minus sign must always go with that number. Do you understand? If a number is carrying minus sign, that minus sign will always what? Go with that number. Do you understand? When a number is carrying minus sign, the minus sign must go with that number. So we cannot have -2 is equal to -2. -2 is -2. And -3 is -3. So -3 and 3 are not the same thing. Do you understand? So this now just written here now. That is to say, from this one now, I can write this. I can write this thing now as minus 3 times 5. Do you understand? Because this 5 now, without being told, this 5 is carrying plus. So the first thing we'll now do here, if you have something like this, the first thing you do is this minus will multiply the what? The plus is what? To be what? Minus. Are you seeing it? So you will understand that when a number starts on its own without sign, without minus in the front, there is a plus in the front. So then we'll have 3 times 5 is what? 15. So the answer is minus 15. Do you understand? So but this one must carry this minus. Example 1. Let's see example 1. So let's see example 1. Let's say if we have minus 3 times 2 times minus 5, we have minus 3 times 2 times minus 5 times 4. So the first thing we'll do here is what? We multiply the signs. We do what? Multiply the signs. Now the first thing we'll do, have minus times, you know that this 2 is carrying plus. So the first of all, bear in your mind that this 2 is having plus and this 4 is also having plus. Do you understand? So the first thing we'll do now is we multiply the what? The signs. So we have minus times plus here is what?
Minus.
Is minus. That minus now times minus now is what?
Minus.
Is
Is plus.
plus. You understand? Minus times plus is minus. That minus times minus is plus. That plus times plus now is what? Plus. So we have it plus. We have plus here. You understand? So the next thing now is 3 times 2 is what?
3 times 2.
3 times 2 is 6. Then 6 times 5 is what? Is 30. 30 times 4 is now what? 120. It's not 120.
Yeah,
120. So that will say that the answer is what? Plus 120 or what? 120. So whether there is plus in the front or there is no plus in the front, the answer is what? 120. Do you understand? So let's look at another example. Let's look at example 2. Let's look at example 2. Example 2. So now, in this example 2 now, we have, let's see something like this. If we have minus 1, okay, let's say, what is this one now? This one is minus times 2 times minus times 3. Now look at this. You don't need to know, you don't need to tell you that this minus now is having 1 at the back. I hope you know. So the first one we do is do the sign. And this one is having plus. So we have minus times plus is what? Minus times minus plus times plus plus. So now say is equal to what? Plus. Now 1 times 2. There is an unseen 1 here. So 1 times 2 is what? Then times 1. Then times 3. 6. Plus 6 or what?